Hi, it's Cindy Fodor with Stamp the Love. Today I'd like to show you a sweet card that was inspired by one of my customers and friends who was here at class the other day. And after everybody else left, we started playing and came up with this card. I've changed a few things, added a few things, and I would like to show you this card. So some of the things I'm going to be showing you, one is how to use some white ink to make your embossing folder stand out. And another one we're going to do, just a fun fold, just to make the front of the card just a little bit different, or the opening a little bit different than just a typical folded card. So let's get started. So this is the card that I want to show you. And I just want to tell you a little bit about the inspiration from it. I recently purchased the dies that that this Inspire came from, and of course the dandelion was in that. It's not a new die set, but I hadn't purchased it before, and all of a sudden realized that I didn't have those great word dies called Sweet Silhouette dies, and I didn't use the stamp set with it, but the original inspiration came because I was designing a scrapbook page for my class, and I used the word adventure that came from this die set. There are 3 words in there: forever, inspire, and adventure. And I just happen to be addicted to word dies. I especially love the font of this one. So I did have fun playing with that. So that's where this originally started, and so I'm going to put that aside. And I want to also mention that I pulled out my Dandelion Wishes stamp set because I thought that that would coordinate well with this die as while I was using that. So, I just saw something. I might choose this stamp instead of the one that I was using. Okay. I sort of like the little dandelions that are flying away here, so I think I'm going to switch out that. All right, I'm not ready to start stamping, but when we get to that, that's what I'll do. So the first thing I want to do is show you what I did with the embossing folder. Now, I did already emboss this with the Dainty Diamonds embossing folder. And I already went over it with some white ink, but after I did my card and I had it put together, I thought, I wished I had waited and put together and inked it one more time before I put it together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again. I did it previously just so it would dry a little bit before I started the video. So let me find my white pad. There we go. Okay, so here's the pad. And this is Whisper White, even though it looks black. That's how that comes. And this is a craft ink. So I'm going to just gently press it onto the paper. And I will try to get it at an angle then, hopefully, so that you can see it. The little dots in the center seem to be the highest point on the embossing folder. It is a 3D embossing folder. And so they grab the ink a little quicker. You'll see that there are some spots otherwise that do grab a little bit of ink. Right there in the center, I'm having trouble getting that for some reason. The edge of my pad must not be very inky. Okay. All right, if you press too much, you get in other spots that I really don't want too much ink on. So let me see if I can get this to there. I think you can see now. You can see the little dots in the center are just a little bit brighter. It's very hard on camera to get that look, but hopefully I have my lighting here good. All right, so I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. We'll go ahead and work on the inside of the card, actually the front flap, because that's a little, it's really simple, and it's actually showing you partial die cutting. So first of all, we're going to, I just wanted to show you how I cut the piece for the inside, for the flap and the inside of the card. This is how it opens. So the inside is white, and you can write on it or stamp on it, and then the flap comes over and tucks in there. So I cut this at 5 1/4 by 8 inches, and I want to score it at 4 1/4 because I want my inside to still be 4 1/4, but the front flap I want to be just a little shorter. All right. Now it is a little tricky cutting it on the die cutting machine because I'm using, just get rid of that. I'm using my, yeah, what are these called? Rectangle, stitch rectangles. And I had to go with the second one down because I'm going to put it at an angle, and the biggest one does not fit at an angle. It will not go through the big shot. So here's how I did it. You'll need all of your plates. So you'll need, this is our new big boss, or I'm trying to think of a good name for it. I think some of the girls are calling it the big boss. I was thinking that it should be like Mama Boss and Baby Boss or something like that. So the cool thing about it is the plates are numbered. So the platform is number 1, and then the second piece, which is the piece that you need when you're cutting thinlet dies, and that's number 2. You don't want that when you're embossing, so you'll use it when you're cutting, but not when you're embossing. And then the clear plates are numbered 3, so they're both 3. Let's see. Yeah, they're both 3. There you go. You can see this one's well loved. So that's going to be my bottom plate. Once again, I'm going to remind you what I learned about keeping your plates nice and flat. And that is, you'll see if I have it this way, I'm able to press that down, and it actually goes down. So when that happens and I can press that down, I flip the plate over. And that's what I've been doing with this plate. You can see how nice and flat it is. And of course my top plate then will stay fairly nice and flat because I'm not cutting on that surface. Although if you do a lot of heavy embossing, you can tend to get your plates a little warped from that. But I did that on this set, and it actually came back flat. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let me just sit that up there for a second. I'm like not having enough space here on my table. All right, so this is the shorter side that I'm laying in here, and then I'm going to lay this die diagonally, and I want the edge to come back here about 1/2 inch from the score line. And you see, I don't want these to go over the edge of the clear plate because then they will run into the edge of the machine. Now, the partial die cutting is that I only want this part to cut. I don't want to cut back here. So I'm going to stick my plate in here. And I did a video back a month or so ago on partial die cutting using all kinds of different dies. And then I'm going to scoot that in here just so that this plate is lining up just where I want it cut. And of course the cutting edges here and here that I want to cut. So now I'm ready to run that through, and I do want to make sure that my plates are straight. Okay, so that's finished. We've got our nice cut there, and I'm going to just set that aside. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fold this on the fold and burnish that. We are going to stamp that, so let's go ahead and do that. And the way I did that is I just want this flap stamped, so I stuck it under my paper. I might grab another piece of scrap paper here just because I don't want to stamp on my my table. All right, so this is where I decided to change and use this little set of flyaway dandelions instead of the larger dandelion. And I'm actually going to stamp off. I'm using Highland Heather, but I want it just a little bit lighter because I'm going to stamp words on here as well, and I don't want them to compete. As you probably saw on my sample card, they did compete just a little bit. I have a fly in this room, and it's really annoying me. I hope it doesn't annoy you as much as it does me. It's bothered me all day long, and my husband and I went to Harbor Freight tonight, and I bought an electric fly swatter. I've never seen one before, and of course, it doesn't work. It was $4, but it was worth a try, right? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my saying on there, and I'm using Memento ink for that. And I did just have to re-ink this because it was very dry and it did not stamp well on my sample card. There we go. That stands out really good. All right, so now we have the flat part done. Let's go ahead and work on the rest of our card. We're going to come back to this, and that's pretty dry. So we're ready to put that together. And for the background of the card, I have a piece of Gorgeous Grape, and I didn't score that. This direction folds pretty nicely. Looks like I got some white ink on there though. And then I'm going to layer just a hint of black behind here. So let me give you my measurements here. So my black piece is 5 1/4 by 4 inches, which is the perfect layer for on top of a regular card. And then this piece is just cut down 1/8 of an inch more on the two sides. So it is 5 1/8 by, I have to think, by 3 7/8. Okay. So I came down just 1/8 of an inch on two sides. So let's glue that together. And this white might, yeah, you can see it's still a little wet there. So I should be careful on that black. In fact, I'm going to stick it on this side since I got ink on that side. And I apologize for my fingernails. I've been working outside, pulling weeds and trying to get things looking better around here. Okay. All right, there's that part done. Now we still need to add a few things to the front of this. I want to put the dandelions on, so these are the cutout ones. But before I put them on, I'd like to add some Wink of Stella to those. So let me just pull this out here, and my Wink of Stella pen. And I'm just going to go over those really quickly. Oh, I forgot my embellishments for the center. Oh well, I'll just show you what I used. Okay, this dries pretty fast, so we won't have to wait too long for this. I don't know if you, yeah, you can see that there. Isn't that pretty? That just really sets those off. I don't know why dandelions are so fun to stamp with, because I hate when they're in my yard, but they're just so pretty. So why can't we just enjoy them? Just enjoy life. Okay. All right, to put these on, I'm going to go the easy route. So I'm going to sit those there for a second and let them dry. I'll go ahead and get the word ready. However, the word is going to go on top of it. And I dropped it into this cup because you see the two little dots there for the Inspire. I didn't want to lose those. So I put those in there because I was afraid that I was going to lose them. And I usually do. But that's okay. If you lose them, you can just use a marker and make the little dot if you want to. All right, I think they're dry enough. All right, so I'm going to do my little trick with my silicone pad. You put a little glue there, take a dry sponge and dip into the glue. Try not to move your piece so that you don't get glue all over the front of it. And then you're ready to stick it down. And I'm only going to press it down in the center because I want to be able to tuck my card under there. So I don't want to press that down too much, even though I got glue all over it. And let's see, right here. Let me just make sure before I push that down too tight that this is going, actually I need this to come over just a little bit because I need it to come over and tuck. So I'm going to sit that right about there, and maybe I will bring, it's sticking pretty good. Maybe I'll bring this one up and over just a little. There we go. Okay, good we checked that because I might have cut that a little bit too short. Okay. Oh, my screen went dead. Okay, now we're ready to put the Inspire on. I'm going to do the same thing here. There should be enough glue left there. This is so much easier than trying to get green glue on and not get it everywhere that you don't want it. Whoops. It wants to stick to me. Okay, and I do want to trim this one off. Grab my scissors. He doesn't need to be sticking down there quite so far. All right, now I am going to, I think what I'm going to do is, these little dots are really, really tricky. So I'm going to try to get it on my, take your pick tool, stick my adhesive on it like that, and then we will just take this and pop it right down where it belongs. And now I have to turn this one over because it's on the wrong side. You can't see that, I'm sure, from the camera, but I can see that it's rounded, and I want that edge to be sticking up. And there we go. That worked pretty good. Press that, whoops. Stay down there, bud. Hopefully I can get it back where all the ink was. I'll just press that down with that instead of my finger. I'm gonna make sure that sticks really good. They are sort of concave on the bottom, so if you press it down a little bit, that will press it into the paper. All right, now let me just throw this back together, otherwise I have pieces everywhere. I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'll just be able to rub that right off of there. And I will have to clean this if I want to be able to reuse it again. Just wash it with soap and water as soon as you're finished with it. All right, so we have the front of our card pretty much finished. The only thing, like I said, I forgot to bring my my little, I think they're faceted dots. We have clear and we have gold. So these are the clear, and they're just the right size for the center of this. I don't think we have anything else that's big enough to look nice in the center of that. And now we're ready to apply this to the inside of the card. So I'm just going to glue the back of it. And then I just need to stick it in here, and I'm going to line it up at the top and the bottom. Push it completely in, and maybe tuck it under here right away so that I can make sure that it's going to fit there. And then press it down. And now I can open, and voila. Now it's ready to write in or stamp in. I think that I don't have a good saying right with me for getting well. So because that's what this says, I want to make sure that that's what I put on the inside. All right, I think, and I'll just close that up by tucking that back in there. Let me just give this another little score so that lays nicely. And I want to do the same with this one. I really like this better than this. I didn't like this, and I was going to change it, and I really like just the little bit of the blow away dandelion. So I hope you enjoyed that. I think, let me just look and make sure there wasn't something else that I wanted to show you. I believe that is everything. So hopefully you can make this card. Like I said, the measurements are just basic measurements. The tools again were, I used the stitched rectangle dies, the second one down from the biggest one, so you can see the inside one there's missing. That's the one that I used. And just turned that on a diagonal and cut that for the front. So just a different way to do an opening on your card that has a little more interest possibly than just a plain opening card. All right, that is all.